Hey, welcome to my presentation on fundamentals for business owners, small business owners most specifically. My name is John Danahey. I am the managing partner of systems engineering with Digital Tech Partners. So I've been around the block a few times. Here's some of my civilian, military, and education experience. What isn't really called out here is my CMMC Registered Practitioner, and all of that lingo means that I have passed a test for the Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification folks, the accreditation body, and it's due to my experience with the NIST 800-171 controls, and we'll save the rest of that for another time, but it's definitely a credential that means something here. There's only 1,700 of us around the country at this point, and if you do business with the DoD, you'll understand why that's important. Here's the agenda. We're going to talk about business risk, threats, the motivation of our adversaries, tactics, techniques, procedures, and reasonable defenses that each one of us can take to make sure that we minimize any impact. Okay, first is assessing your risks. We need to understand where we are and where we need to be. So the first thing you got to do is an inventory. You need to look at your financial assets, your physical assets, and your logical assets. And in that logical space, we really need to look at our information. What do we need to protect? And most importantly, our client information, because a lot of that has regulatory compliance issues. Okay, so here's the threats, really. So we have external threats, and I'll just run through those real quick. Script kiddies, those are people that just hack for the fun of it. Cyber criminals, of course, are in it for the money, financial gain, or intellectual property. Hacktivists are out there trying to deface our websites for beliefs that aren't necessarily in agreement with ours. And we have to look at our vendors and partners also, the people with whom we share information. There's some regulatory compliance issues around that as well. And of course, internal threats are employees. Somebody could make a simple mistake and it could cost us a lot. Or, if we have a disgruntled employee, we certainly know what kind of actions they could take there. And we want to limit that exposure. And of course, the environment, we have no control over it, but we do need to plan for it. And the best businesses are the ones that are prepared for anything. Okay, so the motivation of our adversary, and we kind of touched on that, right? So financial, they're trying to get financial gain. They're trying to steal intellectual property. They might even want to get revenge on us, and that kind of goes back to the whole disgruntled employee thing. And of course, with the script kiddies, they're looking for bragging rights. Okay, so tactics, techniques, and procedures. One of the first ones they try to social engineer us. So they'll be phishing for email passwords, trying to distribute malware to us. Most of the time, that malware is distributed through email. We've got to be careful about the websites that we click on. You got to make sure that that website, that domain is spelled properly, and that it's a legitimate site. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's been happening with Microsoft and remote access. So I can advise right here, right now, that if you're using a remote desktop protocol, you really should or must be using a VPN secure tunnel to get to your network assets. All right, so defenses. It really starts with policy and procedures. That's the business kind of informing us what we need to do in order to continue to protect ourselves and what the expectations are of our performance. Access controls falls in line there with multi-factor authentication. We want to make sure that we have an antivirus and anti-malware client on our machine. We need to verify emails from known senders. Never click on something that you're not expecting. This next one is a firewall appliance. We want to make sure that it's an active firewall. We want those rules to be updated on a regular basis. We don't want to have just an operating system based firewall. And of course, backups. We want to have a backup on-site, off-site, in the cloud, and we want to be able to test those on a regular basis to make sure that anything that changes doesn't cause us an impact on being able to recover our data. Okay, moving on to questions and answers, and we'll be good to go. Thank you for your time. John Danahey, Digital Tech Partners. You can contact me there.
7 seconds or so left.